Hey guys! So, today we are going to talk about browser support. Yes! So let's get into it. Now, browser support it's a great thing, and we will probably always have this debate back and forth about browser support and having inconsistencies in the environment, and I actually honestly believe that this is the biggest emotional difference and mental health difference between backend developers and whoever is working in the browser. Because at least on the server you can trust that the environment is going to be consistent. It's not so true when you're working in the browser. And you see, the other day my coworker came up to me with a bug, and he explained that he was having some issues with his SVG icon, basically, in a specific case, and he wondered if I could have a look at it and see if I could figure out what the issue was. So I thought, all right, let's just have a look at this, right? So the issue was on an iOS device, on an iPhone. The make number, the version number is escaping me now, but it was in a Safari browser on the iPhone, anywho. And so I had a look at, I looked at the SVG, tried it out in my phone. It worked in my Chrome browser, didn't work it worked on the other browsers, but not in Safari. And so I asked him, all right, how are you sure that it's supported? And he said, yeah, of course, well, it's an SVG, it's supported. And then we went to caniuse.com, which is if you're a junior and you don't know about Can I Use, you should absolutely check that out. It is hands down the go-to website for anybody who wants to check if something is supported in the browser of their choice. It's actually, I would argue, one of the most important websites for a front-end developer to know about. Because usually what you do, honestly, I'm gonna stick my neck out a little bit here and just tell you that don't listen to, there is a channel that I follow quite a bit, who is run by a very famous not a front-end developer, a web designer, per my definition, a web designer, who has made a few videos that will state that, hey, you should make everything browser compatible in every browser, for every device, for every combination. And I can tell you right now, guys, that's not feasible for most companies. Most companies do not do that. Most companies focus on the main browsers that they need to support on the main devices, and then they set a version number. And that's where Can I Use come in. Because if you ask your boss, all right, what browsers are we supporting? That means that you can go to Can I Use and check whether or not you have support for the thing that you want to use. Now, in a perfect world, we would have perfect backwards compatibility, and you would only use things that are consistent in every browser. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. Now, the issue here is what I kind of suspected. So my coworker, I just asked him, send me the SVG file. So I started going through the SVG file. And I saw that it was a SVG file generated by a very nice, cool tool called Sketch. Now, Sketch is hands down my favorite design tool. I love it. I love absolutely everything about Sketch, apart from one thing. It has the shittiest SVG export in the industry. I mean, it is really bad. So what usually happens when you use that tool to do SVG export is that it will use some magic to produce an SVG that is not only unoptimized. So what usually happens is that you, as the developer, you're going to have to go into the SVG and basically refactor it, to optimize it, to get away from all this inconsistency that is unfortunately exported. Usually that works out very well, but in this scenario, the SVG was a little bit more complicated than I expected. It was actually using filters internally. And that's where that's my first red flag. All right, filters, cool. That is a little bit experimental. So I went over to my coworker and I said, have you looked at this SVG, because I see a lot of stuff here that could be an issue. And he said, what do you mean? I mean, it's supported. And I say, yeah, on Can I Use, you see that the SVG is supported. But that doesn't mean that every single feature of the SVG standard is in every single browser. And then I went and then I showed him the Mozilla Developer Network, which is the most important, like for web developers, it's the most important website you have, hands down. That is where you will read about you will find information about basically every single standard, about almost everything that has to do with the web and working in JavaScript and so forth. You're gonna find on that website. And so we went to the SVG section and I showed them. Well, as you can see here, this filter, the filtering property, that standard is actually not supported in this browser. You see that SVG, the standard on Can I Use, yes, that is supported in every browser. But as I said, that does not mean that everything about SVG is supported. And he said, okay, cool, let's try it out. And all we did was to remove it, and all of a sudden, hey, it worked. So for the juniors out there, what I want you to remember when you work in the web or like in the browser and so forth is that always remember that you don't have a consistent environment. Some things are absolutely the exact same thing in every browser, but unfortunately, and this kind of comes with the territory, guys, this is why I argue that testing is so important when you work with the web, because you will very often find that some things you want to do works very well in one browser and it doesn't work in the other browser, and that is I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Unless you want to work on like one single platform, this is probably the best reason to be a mobile developer, where at least you have the one platform and you can always trust that platform is always going to work the same way in every situation. But that's not the web. That's why you should invest in integration tests, automated tests, look into behavioral driven development. It's really good for that sort of thing. And have a process around checking it in every browser, because my coworker, as I said, I mean, this is an easy mistake to make, and I forget tons of stuff as well. It's not the first. Trust me, it's never. I have sent code into production several times where I forgot to check every browser because I went to Can I Use and I saw that, hey, it's supported. And then it turns out that, yeah, it's supported, but there are certain things about that standard I'm using that is not supported. So that's my tip to you guys. Can I Use is a great website to get a holistic overview, but you also always have to make sure that even if it says that it's supported in all the browsers, you still have to check it. You always have to check your code. Never ever push something to production without verifying that it works in all your supported browsers first. And have a great day.